Digital Citizenship, Exploring Digital Equity in P-12 Educational Settings and Digital Responsibilities of Students by Alex Moody, Cole Porter, Meshach Waite, Abby Wilson, and Taylor Whitmire.
Digital Equity in P-12 Education. Guiding questions to consider. 1. How can the lack of internet connectivity or the lack of digital technology limit students outside of the classroom? 2. How important is community involvement in ensuring digital equity in both schools and the local community? 3. What strategies can educators implement in an effort to close the gap of digital equity among minority groups? 4. Did the COVID-19 pandemic influence digital inequity? How can communities progress toward achieving digital equity following a global pandemic?
Digital equity maintains that individuals can access and effectively use the technology necessary to participate in modern society. Digital equity is also about making sure all school-age children have the basic resources, including broadband internet and computer access. These basic resources are necessary for all students to meaningfully participate in remote learning from home, regardless of situation or condition. In order to have equity, people must have a sense of fairness. Digital equity is a great concern in our nation, as everyone does not have equal access to computers and internet service. Digital equity is also contingent upon having qualified, trained educators and instructional supports in place so that students can successfully navigate learning wherever they are.
Challenges in digital equity, ethics, and pre-K through 12 educational settings. Finding devices and solving connectivity issues are the first challenges. Digital divide. Try to lower this in these settings. Low-income districts, Title I schools, rural communities, girls or minorities, students with physical or learning challenges, classroom challenges, and technology used to drill viruses, meaningful learning. Some teachers in low-income areas use technology for drills because of the lack of other resources.
Digital ethic opportunities are vital in P-12 schools. These opportunities provide students with the skills and knowledge to navigate the digital world safely and responsibly. By integrating digital ethics into the curriculum, P-12 schools can help students develop critical thinking skills and digital literacy, which are essential in today's age. Digital ethic opportunities can help create a society of respect and responsibility in schools, where students understand kindness towards each other.
The idea of, posting and having a lot of people see it can definitely be kind of scary.
If you're a teenager, you're going to make bad decisions sometimes.
They can screenshot it, they can do so many things to save that, and they can edit it in ways that you won't want them to.
Whether or not you think it'll go away, it's there. Anything you post online, you're stuck with.
Oversharing to me is putting too much of your personal life in front of a wide audience of people.
Posting something for the sake of showing that you're there and maybe not because you're actually having that great of a time.
Posting about things that people don't necessarily think are significant, but they're just kind of posting to be posting.
What you share and how often you share is going to affect the way that somebody views you. Just because I'm going to post all the time, that doesn't mean that you're going to get all the attention. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to like you.
For example, people have Finstas or spam accounts where they just post random stuff, and sometimes they get too personal with what they're talking about on there.
Things that are meant to be texted one-to-one, people tend to post online so 50 other people can see their plans for tomorrow or the next weekend. You could be doing something that could potentially endanger yourself by making your account public and saying too much about where you live or who you are.
When I'm in a cool location and I want to show everybody where I am, but most of the time I'll just tag where I am on a Snapchat story so people can know.
So once you put something online, it can be there forever because people might take screenshots, they might record it, they might save it.
I don't think people don't realize that it's gonna be there forever. I think they just don't care. A lot of people have this mentality of like, what I'm doing is very insignificant. Why is anyone gonna care about this?
You should be cautious of what you post. Don't post your pictures and think like, okay, nobody's seeing me, nobody's screenshotting me, nobody doing nothing, because people doing that, you're just not gonna know.
Your Snapchats, despite the fact that they only last, 4 to 8 seconds, they're still there. Your Instagram stories that go away after 24 hours, they're still there.
Anything that is posted, anything that's up, no matter what happens, even if you leave it up for a minute and take it down, it's there as soon as you put it up there. No one's going to scrutinize everything that you say the same way that you might.
You are not obliged to post every second of your life in order to please what you might seem as the majority of people. So when you feel like you have to post all the time, when you feel like you have to do this in order to get fame and attention, you don't. It's not your job.
That's something you always have to be thinking about. What do you want people to remember you on social media as?
Educational settings, P through 12 offer several opportunities for implementing digital ethics in education. Here's just a few. Cyberbullying preventions. Because of online bullying and harassment, schools can implement digital ethics education to teach students how to use technology respectfully and responsibly, including how to interact with others online. Digital privacy includes where students share data and information every day. P through 12 schools can help students understand their digital pathways and how it impacts their privacy. Schools can teach about potential risk and oversharing their information online and how to protect their personal data.
Formal segregation was outlawed many years before Mark Zuckerberg was born or anybody knew how to click on something that would be delivered to their door. But now, as we hear from BNC's Naja Sherman, the digital divide is creating two nations, one online and thriving, the other offline and suffering.
Affordability is actually the biggest barrier to having internet in your home.
Angela Seifer is the executive director of the National Digital Inclusion Alliance.
In a rural area, their barrier might be that it physically doesn't exist. In an urban area, that's not likely to be the barrier. The biggest barrier is going to be affordability.
Angela says current infrastructure plans seem to be more focused on extending the reach of broadband into remote areas of the nation, rather than making existing systems more affordable to urban students and their parents.
Because we know that there are more people of color living in urban areas than rural areas, right, then you start to draw the lines between these issues. Add on top of that the federal government has been mostly investing in rural deployment, not broadband adoption anywhere, means that they have investing more in communities that are of white residents than communities that are people of color.
Angela says the pandemic has made the depth of the digital divide particularly painful for those who have not, as opposed to have. She says it's just not okay to sit in a parking lot to do your homework because you don't have strong Wi-Fi at home.
The government has been focusing on infrastructure availability, but they need to spend more time and resources on adoption of the infrastructure. And that means subsidies or having service costs that are lower so a family can actually afford them, getting a computer, because what good is an internet connection if you don't have a computer, and the digital literacy skills. Who's providing tech support? Who's helping folks figure out that next new use of technology as it keeps changing?
Angela says fast internet and quick computers are more than a luxury in 2021.
Right now, in our policies, it is considered something that's nice to have. In reality, it is not a nice to have. In reality, you have to have it or you cannot survive, you certainly can't thrive today.
The National Digital Inclusion Alliance says this is not a simple issue that can be solved with one expensive change. It's an ongoing process that needs to keep up with both the technology and the society as both change at the speed of what we used to call the information superhighway. For BNC, I'm Naja Sherman.
To learn more about digital inclusion and make sure your voice is heard from your neighborhood all the way to Capitol Hill, you can join the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. Their website is digitalinclusion.org, and it is free to become a member.
This news outlet encourages implementing resources to make existing systems more affordable. Providing students with a laptop is not the solution. Providing students with affordable internet can be. To achieve digital equity, access and adoption must both remain important. Adoption of technology is a barrier for some. What use is access to technology if it's too complex for you to use? Aaron Meyerson said, "If you build it, they will come isn't an assumption. If you build it, we need to make sure people are adopting it." Another barrier is requiring students to learn using digital technology without access to high-speed internet at home. According to the Pew Research Center, 5 million households in America with school-aged children do not have access to internet, putting these children who have parents or guardians that cannot afford technology at a disadvantage. The first step to working towards digital inclusion is to search for areas that need assistance. Secondly, cities must claim responsibility and must carry the burden of providing the funds necessary to implement changes. Cities can gather information relative to digital inequalities and present it to the state requesting funding. Thirdly, cities can open workshops for citizens to adopt or learn how to use technology. Philadelphia, for example, is revamping its long-running Key Spot program, which puts computers and digital skills training classes in community centers, now with a private sector investment by Verizon. New York City is also focusing extra resources on adoption by working collaboratively with other city task forces. What works in some cities might not work in others. As mentioned in the broadcast played on a previous slide, the National Digital Inclusion Alliance was developed to provide states with a digital equity guide. This guide is encouraged to be implemented to create digital equity among each state. The toolkit provides recommendations to be considered throughout the entirety of the process, an outline for your state's plan, and tactical recommendations broken down into sections. In 2022, the NDIA also published a digital inclusion toolkit to assist libraries who are supporting digital inclusion in their area. The mission mentioned in the toolkit is achieving digital equity in the United States would mean that all the nation's individuals and communities have the information and technology capacity needed for full participation in our society, democracy, and economy. You can follow the link at the bottom right-hand corner of the slide to view the State Digital Equity Plan Toolkit.
To announce the new groundbreaking $50 million Chicago Connected program, which will provide free, let me say that again, free high-speed internet service to the homes of approximately 100,000 CPS students. This is one of the largest This will be one of the largest efforts of its kind in the country. But with a horizon of 4 years, it will also be one of the longest and deepest investments of its kind. Chicago Connected directly pays for internet service to CPS families most in need, bringing the internet directly into their homes so they can access all the benefits that it provides. The families eligible were determined by a range of criteria, including students eligible for free lunch, having special needs, experiencing homelessness, and students living in communities with the highest levels of hardship. We're also starting Chicago Connected now by prioritizing those eligible students who are enrolled in summer school. I can't say this enough. In the year 2020, this effort makes the difference between having an education and not. And really more than that, it's about empowering families. It's saying to them that you matter, that we care about you. We want you to be connected. We want you to be able to take advantage of all the full benefits that the internet provides, not just for homework, but staying connected and that information that's available on the internet. That is true power in the hands of our students and their families. That's important. And more than just for our students in need, this will also allow families of these students to build their own career skills, apply for jobs, support their homes, have access to health care, especially telehealth in this time of COVID-19, as well as learn English, fill out their census form. By the way, if you haven't done it, do that today. It takes 10 minutes. Register to vote, along with a multitude of other needs that the web provides, all of which takes our city one step further to being more equitable, more inclusive, and just more fair.
The Chicago Connected program is an excellent example of the solutions mentioned above put into practice. Urgent needs arose as COVID-19 rampaged through our country, sending students out of the classroom and into their homes, opening the door to digital learning. With this new opportunity came inequalities. The City of Chicago recognized this need and developed Chicago Connected. This program provides free high-speed internet to the students who meet the requirements. This initiative was designed to eliminate a barrier and is now a national model for other cities looking to close the digital divide in their community.
Concluding thoughts. The lack of digital equity affects minority students and groups. The lack of technology resources prevents teachers from providing their students with meaningful technological learning opportunities within the classroom. The absence of affordable high-speed internet in student homes prevents students from expanding their learning outside the classroom. Following the pandemic, many major cities are addressing the issue by creating educational programs and programs allowing for affordable high-speed internet within resident homes. Mitigating digital rights and responsibilities of students. Guiding questions to consider. 1. When should students learn about their digital rights and responsibilities when using technology or the internet? 2. Who is responsible for teaching students about their digital rights and how to safely navigate digital spaces? 3. What are the challenges students face when navigating their digital rights and responsibilities? 4. What types of information must students know in regards to their digital rights and responsibilities?
Digital responsibility refers to using technology in an appropriate, constructive way for oneself and others. It involves navigating a wide variety of ethical situations that relate to privacy, net neutrality, transparency, and the digital divide, among other challenges and situations. Many students, especially at the young age, do not know about copyright laws and or the meaning of plagiarism. As educators, it is important to teach these students that we have to cite where we get our information from or use our own words to explain the information we have learned. Many schools require parents or guardians to sign a form stating they are responsible for what happens on the computer, regardless if it is damages or something inappropriate. This allows the school to be free from things going on in the students' computers. As a teacher, you have the responsibility to help your students gain the skills to practice in the online community, communicate with others, and consume and create high-quality digital content. The responsibilities and rights while using technology is for teachers and parents to implement at home. This needs to be reiterated to students at a young age so they will be aware when they are older. According to Ribble, in most school settings, digital rights and responsibilities are defined through the acceptable use policy. A school's acceptable use policy provides clear understanding of what behaviors are required to be a member of the digital society. These understandings are consistent with the student's responsibility of utilizing technology and digital tools. Behaviors such as ethical use of citing online sources, plagiarism, appropriate use of devices, and bullying and harassment behaviors are examples of what should be considered in a school's acceptable use policy. The internet has become a very common place for students to find information because of the easy accessibility for students. Thus, the utilization of the internet can be a positive and negative.
Challenges in digital rights and responsibilities of students. Passwords. Students need to know not to share passwords, make a secure password, email and banking need higher level of security. Private information. Protect their identities, examples, address, email, phone number. Photographs. Students need to know that photographs sometimes include private details, facial recognition, and geotagging. Some features have to be turned off through settings, or they may still work. Protection, viruses, malware, ransomware, and identity theft can happen to any of them if they are not careful.
With digital technologies becoming more prevalent in P through 12 education, students need to be aware of their digital rights and responsibilities. Some key digital rights and responsibilities include, firstly, digital rights, rights to privacy. These include protecting personal information and protecting online privacy. Rights to access information. Students have rights to access information and resources to support their academic engagement. Rights to freedom and expression. Students can express themselves online, but also in a manner to respect each other. Digital responsibilities. Responsible technology use. Students should responsibly use technology in a safe, ethical manner. Respecting others. Students should know how to respect others online, refuse to participate in cyberbullying, and sharing personal information without consent. Safeguard personal information. Protecting personal information such as social security numbers, addresses, and passwords.
Mitigating digital rights and responsibilities of students. Responsibilities of students start with the educators. Since devices are handed to children at such a young age, it is important to build a firm foundation for this technological generation where they clearly understand their rights and responsibilities. Alison Klein says, by middle school, children who were given guidance on how to navigate digital spaces early on are knowledgeable of dangers that are out there. They are not using their accounts to bully people. They don't have 10 social media accounts. Teaching students digital responsibility before they are given the opportunity to learn it from someone with the wrong intentions can make all the difference. There are 3 things teachers and administrators can do to teach responsibility. First, they can advocate, model, and teach safe, legal, and ethical use of digital information and technology, including respect for copyright, intellectual property, and the appropriate documentation of sources. Secondly, they can promote, model, and establish policies for safe, legal, and ethical use of digital information and technology. Thirdly, they can promote and model responsible social interactions related to the use of technology and information. Responsibilities are extra important online when you consider the implications of your actions on others. Consider the internet an ecosystem. As Michelle Sassone writes in the article, digital citizenship is about a whole lot more than online etiquette in 2020. It is important to be responsible online because the digital tools we use to create an environment can encourage or discourage others. It is important to remember that you may never know the implications of your actions online, so think twice before sharing a post that could offend or target a community that you were not aware of before sharing.
Tonight, police are trying to get to the bottom of a sexting ring inside a Longmont middle school, and this shocked us. More middle schoolers are using their phones for things you may not know about.
And that is why tonight, Denver 7's Jessica Porter has a Contact 7 consumer alert about the apps your child could be using to store the pictures and videos they don't want you to see.
A criminal investigation involving very young students at Altona Middle School this week. All only allegations at this point of students not just trading, but buying and selling explicit photos. One mother is demanding answers.
And all I really wanted to know was that my kid was safe. And I just, the last couple of days, haven't felt like my kid is safe because the administration was doing nothing.
A student whose mother requested we protect her identity says dozens of students are involved.
Most of them were embarrassed and scared, but I do feel for them. Because you don't know why they sent those for a reason.
Law enforcement officers say parents should open every app, photo, and video on their child's phone.
It starts with the cell phone.
This news outlet in Colorado shared a tragic incident happening in a local school district. These students were unaware of laws and their digital responsibilities to abstain from this type of behavior. As teachers, to keep students safe, we must indulge in technology and educate our students on the appropriate avenues of usage. Students have the right to feel safe and be heard online. Once students grasp the role of responsibility online, it is important that they are given some freedom to grow their own digital footprint. When students are taught what signs to look for in terms of identifying a predator, they can feel safer online knowing they possess the tools to keep them safe. Another progression after grasping the responsibility roles that come alongside of digital technology is gaining the right to be heard. 1 in 5 Australian students report being excluded online. To make students feel safe, educators can teach to explore the body's warning signs, how to say no, learn how to set privacy settings, know how to report, and recognize problematic behaviors and inappropriate language. Teaching these skills can help students protect their rights online.
Concluding thoughts. Young students are being raised in a technologically advanced era. It is important that students are taught from an early age about their digital rights and responsibilities when using technology. Educators must teach students how to properly, safely, and productively navigate digital platforms and technology. Students should be given the opportunity to use technology in a responsible and productive way.